The proof of the smallness of the human soul when your reality is governed by probabilities, not truth. The day you can put death in perspective and you lose that fear, believe me, you lose the fear of everything. And until you lose the fear for everything, then the propositions from your adversary will continue to harass you. This is why some of us will never do anything in this world, no matter how hard we try, no matter who is praying for you, no matter who is anointing you. Even when you come to America, you will not live in America still. You will come to America and live in Nigeria inside America.
If everybody is wise, wisdom will be common with that.
Feedback from the future.
I'm in a very interesting place as a person. And I always try to convince myself that whatever it is that I'm experiencing is enough for me and is all that I need to experience. I'm not one of those people that recklessly abandon myself within all that is possible for me to do. In fact, the way I capture my reality is that if I can do or attempt to do all that I can do, I will destroy myself. I think that if you really give yourself to all that you can do, I bet you will destroy yourself. Because the human spirit is an expanded and elastic, quantity, such that there's always much more to what is within you than you can possibly engage, right? Because you are built for 8 billion people. You should understand that. You are built to respond at any point in time to 8 billion people in the world. That means that, you know how the Bible says that, you are built for every good work. It doesn't mean you are going to do every good work or any work, but that whatever it is that is coming into your life or that meets you, there's enough capacity inside of you to manage that response instantly. And because you are not always in control of the irrationality of the human condition, there are fools in the world, there are wise people, there are adversaries, there are allies, there are all kinds of people. There's God working in the world, there's the devil working in the world, there's good, there's evil. So God prepares you for the things He's doing in your life. He actually designed you for the things He's doing in your life. But He also designed you for whatever it is anyone wants to do in your life that is not necessary in your life. It designs you for that as well. So you are kind of built for everything. You're foolish. You are built for the wise. You are built to respond to disruptions, to pain, to interruptions, to suddenness. There's nothing outside of you you are not built to respond to. But all of that capacity for every good work, all of that capacity for everything and anything will now be channeled towards a few things. That is where power begins. To be able to bring all of that into few things, that is where power begins from. And, therefore you have to find the capacity within your own soul to be comfortable with where you are, regardless of how conflicting or negative it is. That means that on your worst day, listen guys, on your worst day, your head has to be still up high with your pride and dignity intact. On your worst day, I'm not speaking about your best day. On your best day, right, there's no intentionality is almost unnecessary on your best day, right? Everything is aligned on your best day, but on your worst day, even on your worst day, think whatever it is, think of your worst day, think of your worst moment. In that day, the strength and the courage to keep your head up high. You see, when they say people bounce back from adversity, by the time you get close to those people, there are people who either in a flash or for most of it, for most of that season, somehow in that terrible adversity, they just were able to keep their head up high and their dignity intact, right? And that is where I try to put myself in, because some things are constants in life, and some things are also equality uh, brewers in life for. So whether you like it or not, you will die. Whether you like it or not, you'll be in a grave. Whether you like it or not, you will sleep. Whether you like it or not, you will eat. Whether you like it or not, you will get up in the morning. I mean, those are things that define our commonality as human beings, right? So when you begin to think of your highest expression in the world, when you begin to think about words like global relevance, words like global penetration, just like everything in life, you can approach those things from different perspectives. Even simpler words like career, simpler words like success, because success is simple, greatness is higher, right? You just need hard work to be successful. To be great, you need sacrifice. So hard work can make you a great lawyer, but you're not going to become a Nelson Mandela because you work very hard. You have to make sacrifices to become a Nelson Mandela. You to be on your path of greatness, you don't need smartness, keeping to time, diligence, consistency. That's not what you need to be great. That's what you need to be successful. And that can be a prerequisite to greatness. But the words that define greatness are love, kindness, peace, self control, patience, goodness. Um, uh, yeah, those kind of words are the ones that define perseverance. They are the words endurance, joy. Those words define greatness. Okay, to you will have that choice to either live at that highest place of your life from the perspective of living out your greatness, because everything we are calling legacy, we call destiny, those things don't happen to you just because you are successful. You can be successful and miss all of that out, right? So you 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 to live in your highest expression, to be at that place that you were designed for, that you were born for, you have to be in a different state. You see, Tosin spoke about rest, and I'm sure she was rushing. There's so much more that she could say to that word, but she had to catch a flight, and so. But a lot of the audience were just interpreting physical rest in a period. Physical rest in a period. You see, that is great, but rest is restiveness. It is a state of being. It's not an event or a collection of events of being. It's a state of being. So there's nothing like, I saw questions like, so when will I know that it's my time to rest? It's going to be over. You are speaking of a resolution of rest. You are talking about the physical organization of rest, which is, take time off, shut down, and all of that. That is necessary, but there is a higher resolution of that, which is the state of rest, where it's not like you stop doing anything. It's just that you have an helicopter view over everything, and you are there manipulating and giving everything in front of you the attention they deserve, the resource they deserve, and playing the God game. You see what I'm saying? Where, God is in heaven. But people misinterpret the idea that God rested. It was easier to document it that way when Moses was writing God rested, because at that time, how many people were in the world, really? How many people were in the world? I'm not sure everybody in the world were up to how many. Nobody actually. All that God was managing when he rested after creating the world was the elements. There was nothing else in the world. So, in documenting that, it was easy for people, even Moses himself, to assume that God just went to take a nap, right? He does not sleep nor slumber. Are we clear? So, it couldn't have been a nap. It couldn't have been a pause. He is omnipresent, is omniscience. So, is at every point in time in charge. When the Bible says that God rested, it's not that it was just like when you rest. When you rest or you knock off or you even sleep, you are pretty much like dead because you're not aware of what's going on around you. God can't do that. That is impossible in God because God does it. If God go to bed and actually knocks off, in that minute the whole world will be destroyed. There's so much. Everything is alive in Him. So if He sleeps, everything sleeps because everything functions in Him. In Him is life. The very essence of the human condition is in Him. So He doesn't shut down in that sense. So, but to say that, you then rested, um, physically, where you prioritize some of your activities, you reimagine some of the things you are doing, you took time away from human contact, you embraced your solitude more within the season, cut off social media, do all of that, get away from the news, set yourself behind the stage, watch everything you are doing, and ask how to pivot with all of that. Yeah, there's a place for that. That is a constant, actually. You, however, must also realize that you can keep that permanent in your life. You can keep that permanent. Just about 4 days ago, somebody asked me, so how do you go on holiday? I don't believe in holidays. And I say that with due respect. And what I mean by that is not like holidays are wrong, right? It's just that I am in a state where, you know, I recognize pressure. I know, and I can just go off like that. And when I go off like that, I'm not going off like going to sleep, it's just that you just know that you are an unlimited force trapped in a limited engine called the human body. And once you accept that, your real freedom and your real power is to know what is important to you at every point in time. In fact, what is most important to you at every point in time, right? And how to focus on that, but also to then have the courage to watch other things undone, So at your highest state of restiveness, it's not that you are not doing anything. It's just that you are in your highest point of focus where something critical consumes your focus, and then you are clear about the alternative for God, because there's always focus creates blindness. If you get so focused and you still see everything, you are not focused. You are actually distracted. When you see everything, that's what I call helicopter view. You see everything in their detailing and then you pay attention, But there are times where you have to just focus. Some people call that deep work, where you clearly recognize the alternative for God, the things that will not be done. You take your peace with it. And whoever is in that block, and then you are zeroed in on the things you can't afford not to do in that moment or in that season, right? That is your highest level of freedom. And I tell people, do you know what it means to wake up in the morning and to know that no human being on the face of the earth, born of a woman, is in charge of what you do or what you do not do, where you go, who you talk to or do not talk to, that no human being except you and God, that, I got a car and somebody was trying to, ask me for the rationale for that kind of investment. And I told the person, well, I needed a car that I don't like driving. So if I have to drive, I have to support myself with all the, you know, infrastructure and luxury possible to make it easy and enjoyable for me to drive. People don't know that I didn't hold a steering until 2021. I held the steering for the first time in 20 years in 2021. I just hate driving. It just distracts me, right? But I live in America. It's a DIY economy. So whether you like it or not, I thought I would chance it, but after a while, I had to accept that, look, I have to drive because if I don't, I'm going to deny my son some attention. I'm going to deny my wife, my family, and so many other commitments, a lot of things if I insist that I have to be driven at every point in time. So I started to start driving. I was changing my car this year to something that I made arrangement for at a point, but it was delayed in coming. So finally came. So this is a very great machine. Why did you? And I said I needed a car that except I stop it or God stops the car, it cannot stop under any kind of pressure, under any kind of capacity. That if I don't stop that car and God is not stopping it, then this car cannot stop. There's no science that can explain why it should stop. That's the kind of car I wanted. Because that's also how I see myself. I'm in a place where, listen, go to bed every night knowing that I did myself great today or I destroyed myself. I will never complain about what I permit. There's nobody responsible for my misfortune, spirit or man or animal. There's nothing responsible for my bliss or my misfortune in this life. Not spirit, not any. This is going to shock you, but I actually don't have any prayer point against the devil. I don't have. The only time I have prayer points against the devil is when I have to stand in intervention in the life of people, right? Personally, the devil in my world is on an assignment that I understand, and he understands mine to a degree. But I understand his fully. And two messengers don't bother themselves. They can partner, they can collaborate, but they are clear about what their reality is. So there's nuclear weapon in Korea, in Russia, and in America. That's called balance of power. So there's respect. Everybody knows their lethality. Everybody knows their sense of lethality. They can argue, they can fight, but they know the limits of that because there are weapons within their arsenal that they know that if we is mutual destruction, mutual. So let's just behave, know the limits of our nuisance, and let us cooperate. Right? But with the devil, it's a different ballgame. It's not mutual destruction. It's not mutual destruction. It's not mutual destruction. It is destruction on his own agenda. So he gets that. So he faces his work, I face mine. And then there are people out there, God help them, that have to face that because of the limit of their understanding. The devil can get busy with those. For me, like the way God, why has God not killed the devil? Why has he not killed him? That's the same way I didn't need to bother about killing the devil. I have more responsibility than what the devil is thinking about. And the devil in my world is an instrument and a tool. I'm going somewhere. So the moment you begin to sit into that state of restiveness, that means, first of all, you have compartmentalized your adversary. You have compartmentalized your adversary. Because as long as your adversary remains a dominant force on your wisdom table, you are still weak, vulnerable, exposed, and susceptible to errors. Because a critical part of your dominant focus is on the devil, is on your adversary, is on your enemies, your human enemies, your spiritual enemies, and all the guys around you, right? If it's just like you want to think about your weakness as opposed to focusing on your strength, the only way to defeat your weakness is to focus on your strength. If for whatever reason you discount the attention you need to pour on your strength and you focus a lot on your weaknesses, you will feel sorry and you will feel better that God thinks you are humble, but you are stupid because you are completely unprogressive. You are just disempowering yourself, empowering your situation, empowering your adversary, and bringing unnecessary, undue complexity into your life. You owe nobody anything, no nothing. So feeling sorry and letting God know that you are sorry by just acknowledging your weakness and crying over your weakness doesn't change anything. There are conversations in this world that if you come around them, you'll be stunned as to what type of audacity of thought surrounds people like this. There are people in this world who are not aware of their weakness at all. They are not. All they know is their strength and how to own it and master it better and better. That way, you never think of their weakness because they never pick it and you never see it because it's never prioritized on their table. What is prioritized is their capacity to win, to shine, to penetrate, to dominate on a scale, right? So, having said that, let me then come to connect that to, because, Tosin laid a perfect foundation for how this has to go. Because where you then have to go is the fact of your existence as a human being. You can sit in Lagos and wonder, okay, how come the richest people in the world are Americans? How come the biggest companies in the world are not in Africa? How come they are not in Asia? How come they are in United States of America first? Then I don't want to give you statistics upon statistics of what percentage of the biggest businesses, of the biggest visionaries, of the biggest thought leaders. Just think about it. I was talking to somebody 2 days ago. I said, have you thought of why? Do you know any global thought leader that lives in Dubai? Global thought leader that was made, bred, trained, and scaled from Dubai or from Jamaica or from, tell me, do you know anyone? I said, so you do you know anyone, at that level from Dubai or from Lagos or from Cameroon? And even when you find, you'll be finding a very tiny, peculiar percentage. And you don't build facts and principles and recommendations on exceptions. You have to build it on the general thinking, right? So how do you then deal with that? But you could name companies that are all over the world, from the United States, America, Coca-Cola, Ford, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You could go on and on. McDonald's, KFC, too many. Pepsi, Gillette, Fruit of the Loop, Nike. You could go on and on. Apple, Microsoft, Google. You could go on and on. Where the whole world is sucking from the value they represent. Then individuals. Is it Bill Gates? Is it Steve Jobs? Is it Mark Zuckerberg? Is it who? Think about it. Just think about it. Go there. I think the only thing in the world where you could name somebody else, so the only thing great in the world that you could say the individuals, the principal actors there and the principal organizations there are not American, will be soccer. 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 So when you are playing soccer, maybe football, as we call it back home, then you could say, apart from that, every other thing in the world is curated, dominated, controlled from here. So there's a reason for that. It's not happenstance. It's not just that they're just favored. No, it's an intentional curation. And there are some basic things you have to understand, right? When people say that they are afraid to take a risk, it's not risk that is their problem. They already take risk every day. The real problem is that they are alive. They are alive to feel anything and everything. And they are not selective about how they feel. So they feel everything. And so no matter the positives they feel negatives in equal weight or maybe even more. Life. Bad news is louder than good news. So if you feel everything, you're going to feel more of bad news. Negativity is louder than positivity. So if you feel everything, you're going to feel more negativity, more toxicity than bliss or positivity, right? more good news would not be felt in this world because bad news is louder. So if you feel everything, you're going to get more bad news. So how do you get selective with what you resonate with what you feel, with what is coming and passing through your mind? 60,000 thoughts pass through your brain every day. Over 60,000. Let me ask you a question. How many of that can you account for? Let's start with yesterday. So yesterday, over 60,000 thoughts went through your mind. Tell me how many. Take a pen and a paper now and start writing down how many you can account for, how many you knew passed through your mind that you can write, you can note right now. You'll be lucky to name 20. You'll be lucky to name 20. 60,000 went through your mind and you can't list 20. You can't list 20. 60,000 went through your mind. That's why your subconscious is very powerful. Because over 59,000, God knows how many thoughts have gone through your mind, piling up in your subconscious. Your subconscious is aware of all of them. Your conscious can only account for 3 or 4 or 10 or 5 or 15. 20 at best, if you are very super aware and present. What about that? So there's another way these things work, guys. And you know how you don't like a tree and you want to get rid of the tree, but all you are thinking about is cutting the leaves. So you cut the leaves all you want and take all the leaves out. The tree is still bloody there. The tree is not going to go. If you don't want the tree, you can even ignore all the leaves. Just go take it out from the roots, and the tree will leave. So people make promises to themselves. They break as many as they make, because essentially all they have done in making that promise is cutting the leaves. And when you have mastered, or you have been convinced or taught to cut leaves in solving your problems or in dealing with your levels of complexity or contradictions, then you have also mastered the art of sensationalism. It means you will always find comfort in your sensation of victory, not necessarily your experience of victory. So people go into churches week in, week out, religious homes, seminars, conferences, and they get so pumped up because all they are receiving is the sensation of victory. Now, they look so similar. When you know how you have maybe malaria or some sickness, and you've been feeling so feverish and so high temperature and headaches, and then you decide to go to the hospital. And just getting into the car, you begin to feel a bit better. By the time you get to the hospital, you are feeling much better. By the time you are sitting in front of the doctor, you are struggling to pick your symptoms again. You almost feel like you are okay, or you are not okay. Because you have gravitated towards the solution, there is a part of your body and your energy that is in line with that moment. So you are going to feel a sensation of victory. You are going to feel like you are okay, but you are not okay. If you don't take the medication, if you don't talk to the doctor and you say, oh, I feel great, let me go back, I think I'm feeling great, you're going to suffer a killing relapse that you won't even believe it, right? But just coming into that environment of solution, just because you are in a hospital and your body and your brain and your soul, every part of your body resonates in that environment, that this is an environment of promise. This is an environment of hope. Change happens here. All of the energy of healing and everything is in that environment. That is what is arresting you in that moment and giving you a sensation. It doesn't mean you are free. You see what I'm saying? So on many levels, you can pay for sensation. You can negotiate your meaning based on sensations and still not have an experience of that thing. So sensation is one, experience is another. But what most people have most of the time is a sensation. Sensation. And that can come from just cutting the leaves. Just cutting the leaves. You now have more view because the whole tree was disturbing your view before. So you cut all the leaves, you have better view, you can see more, but you are still constant. The tree is still there. And all those leaves are going to grow back. It's just a matter of time. and then you are back to where you were, and you are eating your promises again, and then you have to start play again, and then you do the same thing, and then repeat, and then play, and then repeat, and then play, and then after a while you begin to doubt your doubts, and you begin to, second guess yourself, and then it's only a matter of time before you have enough collection of failed promises in your past that can arrest your mind and rent a space in your subconscious, and depression begins to come as you meditate on the history of that past and all the collection of failed promises that are loaded there. That is why people who are incapable of feeling pain or who don't reminisce, they can't be depressed. They can't have, there is a level of recall that you must be capable of to suffer depression. Like, I don't practice recall. My brain doesn't do recall. My sense of recall is less than maybe 2%. My mind replays more than it recalls. So I don't store numbers. I don't store anybody's birthday. I don't do anything like that. Look, it's one life. I put this thing in my phone, everybody's birthday in my phone. I put stuff there. God help me if it rings on the day that I'm with. If I miss it, well, God help me. I'll apologize. I'll beg. But listen, it's one life. So your mind can either replay things or pre-play things. What you want is pre-playing, not replaying, because replaying a lot of times is the path to depression. Replaying and doing that intelligently is accepting that the future creates today. Today does not create the future. But I'm going somewhere. Please stay with me. So how does it happen that people somehow, the most successful people, the biggest thought leaders, the best entrepreneurs, the most astute politicians, and all of that, the best singers, the best actors, all from America? Could that be coincidence? Could that be happenstance? Could that be some natural or existential reasons to that? I don't think so. But I do agree that there are some common ideas that have scaled in the culture of the Americans that produce such results consistently. Now, I'll begin with the fact of death. The Bible says something that I honor so much, that except a corn of wheat will fall to the ground and die, it really cannot abide. So let's visit the concept of death. The reason why people struggle, people are afraid to do anything or to take risks is because they are too alive. They're just too alive.
Do you enjoy Olakunle Soriyan's content here on YouTube? Then you should be on Illuminate. It's the digital library of Olakunle Soriyan with over 25 years of private sessions, decoded frameworks, and content unavailable anywhere else. Visit bit.ly/PK Illuminate. Subscription starting from $10 per month.
So, see someone is afraid to take a risk, saying, okay, should I just don't like risk at all. But look at that same person talking. That person talking got married last week. He doesn't like risk, but he got married last week. He forgot, or he has not recognized that in getting married last week, he has taken a big risk. First of all, he has no mathematics that can prove to him that he will be alive in 3 months' time. But he got married anyway. And then he will give birth to a child. And then as he's giving birth to that child and he's doing naming ceremony, he has forgotten that he has no mathematics alive the next day to continue to father this child. The next day, there's no math that you'll be alive. He's going to go and get a job or rent a house for 3 years and sign a lease for 3 years. Meanwhile, he has no math that he'll be alive next month. How much more in 3 years? He's going to invest in things and hope that they yield better outcome. He's going to start building a house. He's not even sure he'll be alive in 3 months' time, but he's building a house that he wants to live in for the rest of his life. He has given birth to a child that he can't promise that child that I will be there for you all the rest of your life. I'll be there for the next 40 years of your life or for the next 30 years of your life. He simply forgot that his life as a whole and his entire existence is a risk. But you see, those are not risks that are captured in the books, and those are not risks that are in your narrative of risk. So just because nobody's having the conversation about the real picture of what risk is, you have believed the common narrative of what it is, not forgetting that you actually don't need any teacher to understand risk. This is a critical part of your life. Getting married is a big risk. Giving birth to a child did not apply to come to this world. It didn't apply to come. You brought a child here, and then you have no hope. There's no guarantee that the child will not be an orphan in 3 weeks' time. There's no guarantee, but you took the risk anyway. If risks are as perplexing as they are, you shouldn't get married. When you think about it, you shouldn't give back to children. You shouldn't do a lot of the things you do. You shouldn't make plans. You sit down, you pause everything you are doing to go into school, to graduate, and you believe you graduate in 4 years. How? Please, by what mathematics? Show me that you'll be alive tomorrow. Just the fact of death eliminates everything on your table. Everything. Think about that. But that does not stop you. Knowing that you could actually go tomorrow morning, it didn't stop you. Knowing you may not be alive again in 10 years did not stop you from having a child today. It didn't stop you from making an investment that will yield in the next 15 years. You made the investment anyway. Yet you cannot prove that you'll be alive there, but you did it. You got married anyway. You are making plans anyway. You already have things you want to do next year. In fact, you've paid for a course you want to attend next month. That's a risk. Since you know you are going to, if you can know that you are going to die tomorrow, maybe that money of investing in paying for a house that you are going to live in another 2 years, maybe you should take that money and just do something different today since you know you are going to die tomorrow. But because you don't know, you are going to take the risk of believing that that decision is the best decision. It is the day you die you realize that, oh, there are so many things you could have done now that would be better used for that money than to throw it to the future that you're not going to be in. But as long as you are alive, you're not going to question that reality. So how can your sense of audacity be discounted when your very existence, your very essence as a human being at the core of you, who you really are, right, is a commitment to do what you have to do regardless of the possible threats around it. Your very life, your very breath on a daily basis is negotiated on the table of risk. Your very breath. How much more all the things that breath guaranteed, which is your dreams, your marriage, your sense of mission, your sense of thoroughness, my purpose, your vision, your mission, my career. All those things are only guaranteed by your breath. And that breath is a risk on your table every day. You have no control over it. You have zero control. Sportsmen, they say go to the gym every day, make sure you exercise. Sportsmen who exercise every day, they do everything. They do medical checkups. Professional players, medical checkups every week to check their body, to check that they fall on the pitch and die off. Mystery. They get cancer from nowhere. One of Nigeria's best goalkeepers, Cultivating, great guy in our national soccer team, great guy. One of the, we can count in our hands how many goals he had conceded. Great goalkeeper. He just was diagnosed of some, terminal disease. I can't remember what it was. And that was the end of his career. He's still alive. You have to manage it. But he can't play soccer at the level he was playing it. Who would have expected that? See what I'm saying? So if you, so when the Bible says except a corner of wheat will, so that death that is a reality and a factor in cultivating your sense of audacity is such a commodity that you have to pay attention to every day. Otherwise, there are just things you will never do. There are just things you will never attempt to even do. Right? Just give me a second. I need to pop up the conditioning in this room. Yeah. So the other day, some years ago, myself and a partner of mine were going for a meeting at Sheraton Hotel. And we were going to go there to do a presentation for a business. And when we got to Maryland bus stop, we both realized that about 2 weeks before, a medical doctor, I'm sure you heard about that story, a medical doctor has been shot at that place. And the guy just came in a bike and shot him right there at Maryland bus stop by the traffic light. And my friend said, this is where they shot that guy. Let's put up the laptop. And when we get to the meeting place, we'll continue. So that was strange to me. I said, we've not finished the presentation. We should shut down the computer. And then when we get to the meeting, what do we tell them? We're going to get to the meeting in 10 minutes. We're at Maryland bus stop. Sheraton is like 5 minutes away. So when we get there, what do we tell them? We say, when we go to Maryland bus stop, we are afraid that they may kill us or they may rob us. So we decide not to walk. So is that going to make sense to them? Is it not even better that they actually rob us, take the laptop, and when we get there, we say, when we got to Sheraton Maryland bus stop, we were attacked by armed robbers and they took our laptop. Is that not a better narrative to serious-minded people than to go and tell them that we were thinking they will attack us and they never did? So that's why we didn't work. So it didn't make sense to me. So I said, no, we have to continue to do the work. And we have to, and he said, what if you were attacked though? I said, if we were attacked, we will escape. So what if they take the laptop? Better story. They take the laptop, that's a good story to go and tell our prospects that they took the laptop. So that's a great thing. Okay, so you know how robberies happen, Abi? They take the laptop and mistakenly shoot you. I said, it will miss us. Okay, what if it doesn't miss us and it hits us? Well, that's true. It can hit us. Then we will not die. We'll be in the hospital. That's a better reason too. Say, okay, but what if you die? It's possible. We may die. Then they will have our dead body, not our fear. Then they will have our dead body. Now. The only reason why, so I told him, look, I'd rather have them have my dead body, negotiating a possibility, than creating tangibility from a probability and forcing my entire environment, my thinking and my actions to surrender to a probability. To a probability and govern my entire life by that. What if they never robbed us? I would not forgive myself if we get to that meeting and it is because we were not ready that we were cancelled. I don't know how to do that. I would rather be shot here, now, and I die. And then they said, I'm dead. So I don't even see the next second. I don't mind. Than for me to be here and shut down this laptop looking at what might go wrong. Make that choice, though. How many cars have? Do you know that for a plane to drop, somebody who said, okay, so let me tell you the story. I had a dream one time. Another story in the story. I had a dream about 4 hours to my flight out of the country. I had a dream that I was in a flight and the plane crashed. I didn't talk to anybody. I just picked my bags and what's the option? So I should not go and fly again. You know how some people just come and say they are prophets, they just tell you, don't fly today, don't go out today. No human being, no matter how anointed he is, can have such a stake in my life. No, you are free to suggest. You are free to suggest. What suggestion does, it empowers my wisdom and decision table to own my own destiny. So you can come and say, well, you perceive that this should be, you can't tell me, are you not a human being like me? And then come and tell me that I shouldn't go out today. Today I should just go and sit down in one room and be eating. No nonsense. I don't take that rubbish. Come on, that's not spirituality, that's manipulation. Anyway, somehow religion understands that. I don't. So I flew, of course, because to drop 1.2 million flights will happen for a plane to drop. To have one plane crash will happen after 1.2 million flights are successfully landed. What is the possibility I will be that one flight? What is the possibility that I will be the one in that one flight? And then for me to die in that flight, as at my last check, the possibility is 11 million. That is, 11 million people may need to first before I can be the one dying in that flight. So why should I worry about that? So I should forget that I can be in the 1.2 million flights and rather consume myself that I will be the one flight. Then let me die, please. Please let me die. It's okay. Let me die. I'd rather die than be ruled by that. You can't be ruled by probabilities. You can't. Probability best assumptions on your table. I can't do that. Another story. Somebody spoke to me, to somebody I know, condescendingly, right by my side. And I came into the conversation and I put the person in check. The person that was disrespected did not say a word. He was too beaten in that moment to say a word, so I had to step up and I arrested the situation, spoke for him, put the other person in check, and was ready to scatter the whole place if necessary, right? But somehow our words were enough to manage our nuances, and the nuisance of the moment was tamed. So there was peace and we all left. So the other gentleman was now asking me, so how will you then, how did you know in that moment? I couldn't ask. How did you're just spontaneous. First of all, a part of me cannot be disrespected. A part of me has completely mastered everything that can make me cower or koto in a moment, in any moment. Because I'm not aware of what you are aware of. You are too alive to many things. I'm dead to so many things. I'm a dead man. I'm going somewhere. And we are all dead anyway. Anyway, let me get there. I'm going somewhere today because I'm addressing the roots. I'm not cutting leaves here at all. If you need leaves, you may need to let me be, but I'm not cutting leaves. I'm going to the roots right here. This is why some of us will never do anything in this world, no matter how hard we try, no matter who is praying for you, no matter who is anointing you. Even when you come to America, you will not live in America still. You will come to America and live in Nigeria inside America. You will still never live in America except you defeat these kind of things we are talking about today. The kind of things that Tosin was talking about. The kind of things that YBB is talking about. So, but I also need to get out of your face because I have another meeting. But this is it. So I told him, and I said, so listen, in that moment, if I let that word go, assuming it was me that he was talking to, though he would never have the chance to speak to me that way. For you, he still had the chance. For me, I would not need to respond this way because it will not even happen. Because I'm the guy that you can't disrespect me. I can't put myself in a place where if you disrespect me, I don't have a problem with you. My next question is to myself, how did I carry myself or position myself that he was able to disrespect me? That would be my concern. I will even thank you. You have given me feedback. I'm going to go back into my world and say, how did that happen? Because I should not resist disrespect. I should actually not be in that zone at all. You should not have the opportunity to disrespect me. If I still need to correct you that you are disrespecting me, something is wrong in the way I curate my environment and the way I position myself with you. When I'm maximized in my positioning, you will actually not have the room to disrespect me. So I will never need to correct you that you are disrespecting me. Correcting you that you are disrespecting me is low resolution in itself. See what I'm saying? Anyway. So I said, but if that happened to me, you know what my big problem is? If I don't take that moment and put that person in order, then I've lost my right to go home and talk to my wife or go home and correct my children? How will I now go home and say, you guys do this, you guys do this? Somebody just puts you in your place now out there. So for me, it's a betrayal of the soul. It's personal. It has nothing to do with that guy. I'm a leader in my world. How do I now come here now and be talking to you guys when I know that one human being just put my head and put me in the place I didn't want to be, and I accepted it and I left, put my tails behind my two legs and I left? How do I do that? So I always say to people, when I look at an action, I'll ask myself, when I am alone tomorrow morning with God, how do I feel proud and confident? Alone, nobody's there now. If I let this moment go, then it means no matter what my son says, I will let it go forever. Because so you are this strong, then you didn't speak up when you're supposed to speak up out there. You're not coming here to come and be playing King Kong in the house. No, that can be done. I don't operate that way. I don't even process things that way. You see what I'm saying? So in the same way, I'm like, no. I actually shut down this laptop now. You think it's laptop I'm shutting down? I've shut down my right to so many things in the world. My courage, so many things I take positions on. If I shut down this laptop now and I say we can't work because they can rob us, or I won't take this flight because it can crash. Because it can crash. A flight that for you to crash, 1.2 million flights will fly first before one plane can crash. Then I will not be articulating my next outcome that I will be the odd one out to be in that flight. And somebody may say, hey, but the guys who were in the flight that crashed also thought they would not be the 1 million. Yes, but they didn't plan to be. I shouldn't now sit down here and say I'll be in that 1.2. Therefore, I should paralyze my reality based on the probability. With due respect, is one of the proof of the smallness of the human soul when your reality is governed by probabilities, not truth. You are governed by assumptions. You use assumptions to lead you to a fact or to lead you to a conclusion. You don't use assumption as the conclusion. You don't do that. So the moment you are afraid of, studies have shown that behind every phobia in the world, behind every form of fear, whether it's the fear of height, whether it's the fear of darkness, whether it's the fear of failure, whether it's the fear of success, that behind every fear in the world, whether it's the fear of flying, whether it's the fear of colors, whatever the fear is, whether it's the fear of robbers, whether it's the fear of kidnapping, that behind all fear in the world is the fear of death. The root of all phobia, the root of all fear is the fear of death. In other words, the day you can put death in perspective and you lose that fear, believe me, you lose the fear of everything. Everything. And until you lose the fear for everything, then the propositions from your adversary will continue to harass you. It's just like you don't know where you are going. So every bus stop looks attractive because you don't know where you are going. Every stop looks like that's where you are going. Oh, is it Cameroon? Maybe it's Cameroon. Is it France? Maybe it's France. Is it Abuja? Oh, maybe it's Abuja. Oyinbo. Okay, maybe it's Oyinbo. I'm going. Maybe it's Accra. Oh, maybe it's Lagos. Because you don't know where you are going. Before you embark on the journey, the clarity about the destination must be in play within you. Because as you begin to move, there are different stops, different calls, different bus stops, different stations. We call itself out. And except you know where you are going, you will pull up at every station because you don't know where you are going. So the fear of death is like that. Once you are afraid of that, you pretty much arrest. You know what is called arrested development? You completely arrest your capacity to grow and to expand in this world. How do you think people could move from where they were to come see what's going on in Africa, pursuing completely new territories? At that time, there were no medical system as we have it today. People took risk to go see what's happening in the world, got into a ship. Some of them were killed by ordinary fever, killed them. Not everybody that got into the boat got to destination. The idea that possibilities are always ahead of the human condition, and that it is the duty of the human spirit to think of the reality of those ideas, to imagine themselves living in those ideas, and to force those ideas into the daily experience of the human condition is the duty of some, even if not of all, at least of some. That's how we must think. The ability to generate novel scenarios in your mind and to translate them into reality for day-to-day use in contemporary life, that's power. Facebook was in somebody's mind. He did that. He brought it into everyday use of contemporary life. Twitter was in somebody's mind. Microsoft was in somebody's mind. Samsung, Toyota, Honda, the airplane. Until the Wright brothers gave us the airplane, there was no air force in the world. Have you thought about that? That one invention of the Wright brothers gave us air force. At that time, nobody was fighting from the air. We fight in ship and land. That invention gave birth to air force for the first time. Beat that. So somebody has to articulate stuff like that. And except you are free within. Now, internal freedom will be evidenced as external audacity, confidence, and adventure. When you are free inside of you, the proof is that your sense of audacity will be untamable. Your sense of adventure will be extremely high. Your confidence will be so rich, so tangible. People can almost touch that confidence. In other words, you practically become God. Oh, God. You practically become God. I don't mean God the creator, but to become God amongst men. That's why you could read scriptures like, know ye not that ye are gods. So, why do you think every child is born fearless? Do you know that every child is born fearless? Because they have no experience of fear to make them fearful. Every human being is born fearless. You learn your fear. Every human being is born with light. You learn your darkness. You are going to learn it. Fear is a learned behavior. Some people say, well, it's part of your emotion. No, that's spontaneity. That is instinct. And that's fine. The proof that you are fearful is not in how you feel, it's in how you act. So you judge fear by courage or lack of courage. The feeling of fear is a constant. Every human being can feel that. So when people say they are fearless, it's not that they don't feel afraid, but it is that feeling is just recognized emotion to define the moment they are in, but they arrest it with their action, which is courage. So demonstrable, that is potential, or demonstrated kinetic, demonstrable or demonstrated audacity, adventure, confidence is proof of fearlessness. See what I'm saying? So when you see people leave their comfort zones, what do you think took Bill Gates out of Harvard? You think it's Microsoft idea? No. It's that same adventure capital, that possibilities will always be ahead of us, that it is the duty of the human spirit to imagine itself in that possibility, and to deliberately arrest its own environment to bring that possibility into reality for everyday contemporary use. Venture capital. So you can be in London, and though you are in London with possibilities around London, you will still have a mentality of Lagos, and you will be living in Lagos. You will be a fresh, supplied entity in London that is critically Lagos in its thinking. And so your experiences will still not be borderless. They are still bordered by all of the weights that you knew in Lagos. It's as simple as that. So let me raise that thought a bit. The moment you are afraid of death, you are in bondage. And I kid you not, there is a dimension of your destiny and your legacy you will never define. I'm not trying to attack you, I'm just telling you the way it was. People who don't know God at all are living away from fear. They're taking their chances. They are doing what they have to do. So, assuming from the beginning of time. Anyway, before I go there. So when you read scriptures like you die daily, we die daily. It's because the factor of death is at the root of every form of dominance or achievement. I was talking to someone that said, I'm not a parrot bird. Some years ago, somebody was talking to me and trying to get me into a commitment and want us to do something together. And then I will be kind of number two to him. And then we'll do some great things in the world. I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm not built for that. There's a place for number two. In my church, I'm not number one. I'm a pastor, I'm ordained, I'm an associate. I serve, and I will serve for life because I will never start a church. So I'm content in that. But in my own work, I am not an Aaron. If you're an Aaron, you are called to a Moses. If you are a Moses, you are called to the world. So I'm called to the world. I'm not called to a person in my work. So I really can't express all these gifts and all these skills in submission to another human being. No, some people must do that because they are designed to be Aarons. They are called to a Moses. I am not called to a Moses. I'm called to the world. So I'm not a cage bird. You can't put me in a cage and give me food every day and serve me the portion that you prefer, such that my consumption and my expression is tied to your preference or your prejudice. No. Because if you keep me in a cage, you will free me up when you want to. You will bring me out when you want to. You will serve me the water that you feel I need. You will give me the food. I'll be fresh. Oh, birds in the cage are always very fresh. They always look so nice and pretty. They take good care of them. They probably even bake them, and all of that. And then I'm not a parrot, man. A parrot just keep regurgitating what you say. I mean, anything you say, I will say it back. That's not who I am. I'm a soaring bird. I'm built for the skies. I can't live in a cage. I have to soar. I have to be out there. And I have to be out there with all the risk, because a bird in the cage can never be killed by plane or the propeller of a chopper, or have a bird accident or things like that, or be killed by a hunter. No, he's in the cage. I am a soaring bird. I'm a jungle bird. I have to be out there. And I have to be out there. I have to soar. My wings are so large. I have to go to the heights. And when I'm going, I stand the risk of being shot by a hunter. I know. I stand the risk of hitting a plane that is flying. I stand the risk of bumping into the, propeller, or what they call it, of an helicopter. Yes, I know. I have a risk of something killing me, or a harsh weather killing me. I know. But I would rather die by any one of those things than live in a cage. I'm built there. When you are built for that, it comes with all the threats and all the things that can go wrong come with it. You can't be an eagle and promise safety to yourself. You can't even promise safety to yourself. Somebody came to my office one time and said, so what is job security here, sir? I said, there's none. Job security, there's none. You secure your job by yourself. I'm not even secure. How can I promise you security? There's no job security here. We are jungle lions here. There's a jungle lion, there's a zoo lion. The zoo lion and the jungle lion, they both look the same way. They all look the same way. In fact, the zoo lion is fresher. His food is more guaranteed. He doesn't look for food. The jungle lion may not find food for days. Looking for what to eat, he's responsible for how he consumes. If he doesn't move, nothing gets to happen. If he doesn't think, if he doesn't go hunt and predate, he's not going to eat. The zoo lion doesn't need to hunt anything. He just needs to be present. Once he's present, they will feed him his food. He'll be fresh. You have enough water. They'll throw him all the things he needs to eat. He'll be fine. That's the zoo lion. He grows to the preference of the zoo owner. He grows to the prejudice or the fancies or the nuances or the whims and caprices of the zoo owner. I'm not that. I'm not that. Poachers can get me. I'm a jungle lion. Poachers can get me. I can die of hunger. I can starve to death if I don't move right, if I don't articulate right. I can. It's possible. Nothing is promised in the jungle. But I would rather be that than take the safety of the conditioning of a zoo lion. Now, when the zoo owner comes into the zoo to feed the zoo lion, he can bring meat in his hands and come into the zoo and throw it to the zoo lion. The zoo lion will ignore him and go for the portion given to him. The jungle lion, both you and the meat you are carrying, both of you are meat. He doesn't see the difference. You get in with the meat, you and the meat are the same. In fact, you are the bigger meat. You are the bigger meat. You are the easier meat. You are the more preserved. He's going to come for you first before the one you are carrying in your hand. You see what I'm saying? What about that? I'm a zoo lion. I'm a soaring eagle. I'm not a parrot. I'm not built to live in a cage. All of the risks associated with my existence are all welcome. I may not become anything in life. So be it. But the only way that will happen is because I will move to become something. If I don't then become anything, that is my satisfaction. Our success does not come from achieving. It's from the process of believing in our possibilities and acting in alliance with that we find satisfaction. So my audacity is my victory. That I wake up to try. I wake up to move. That I wake up with a plan. My PA calls me brainy. You know why she calls me brainy? She's American. There's this, I'm sure you all saw that cartoon, Brainy and Pinky and Brainy. And every night, they always want to take over the world. Brainy is always trying to take over the world. And every night, they fail. And when they fail, the next day, Pinky will come to Brainy and say, Brainy, what are we doing today? Say, the same thing we do every day, trying to take over the world. So my PA calls me brainy, because no matter what happens, it's the same thing we do every day, trying to penetrate the world and leaving our names and our value and our impact as legacies for tomorrow's people to engage. You see what I'm saying? So the process itself is your strength, not the outcome consolation. Your driver, your meaning is in the process. When people hate the process, right? Most of the time they are hirelings. They are not true shepherds. They are not true idea shepherds. A real shepherd is consumed by the process, consolated by the outcome. So when they say the end justifies the means, it's not true. The means justifies the end. Look, I told somebody this, and you will not believe me. You will not believe me. If you come to me now and give me $500 trillion and tell me don't work again, just go and be sleeping, eating, and enjoying, take $500 trillion. I'm sure in 3 months I will fall down and die of cardiac arrest. What will kill me is not lack of money, it's lack of impact. Every day, just waking up to know that the action I take today contributes to somebody's ease, to somebody's reality, makes the future better for those coming behind me. Just that sense of moving and caring, pushing, winning, failing, confronting possibilities of failure daily, living by the edge. I can't live on the middle of the table. I don't know how to do it. The only way life can be meaningful to me is I have to be on the edge. I have to know that if I misstep here, I drop. I have to know that. Look, call me foolish, call me whatever. But that's my design. Everybody's not meant to be like me. But I'm not meant to be like everybody either. The real tragedy is not in all of us minding what other people are, but in doing that at the expense of who we are. I don't have any problem with who you choose to be. I have no problem with it. I'm not just going to pretend that I'm not who I am. I don't care who disagrees. I'm just who I am. So for me, it's the means, is the process that justifies the end. So if I get $1 billion in lottery, it means nothing to me except maybe I can deploy it. But that will be my satisfaction. No, my satisfaction is in my exaction. It's in my movement. It's in my curation. It's in my perception. It's in my ability to take instruction, to learn, to relearn, to unlearn. That is where it happens. To see end to end, to curate, to design, to deploy, and to see them come to pass. That process, end to end, that is the engine. So you can't gift me into fulfillment. No, you can't gift me into fulfillment. You can't give me $10 million and say, you can't give me $1 billion. You know, that's a gift. Apart from the fact that favor is not free. Somebody's picking up the price. For every degree of favor that you seek, you lose a level of freedom. So I don't run away from favors, but I have to check who's giving it. But I'm always saying you can't gift me into legacy. You can't gift me. You can't be gifted into your victory. You can't. So, ooh. So part of that is that there is a freedom that exists in the most powerful human being, even if it's Adolf Hitler. You got to believe in yourself first. You got to believe in the possibility trapped in your own existence first, no matter what you are trying to do, unto good or unto evil. Whether you are Bin Laden, or you are Adolf Hitler, or you are Nelson Mandela, or Mahatma Gandhi, or Jesus Christ, or Muhammad, or whoever you are, you have to believe in that. Even if you are God, the creator of the world, it begins with your own scenario and the pictures that define that content to yourself, not to the world. So we die daily. And then to know that death is actually sure, whether you like it or not, regardless of your degree of caution, you will die one day. I think the best thing is to accept that and ask yourself, if death is sure, what kind of person ought I to be? Okay, so I need to round up now, I guess. So I've said all of that deliberately to let you understand the foundation of how you are going to navigate globally, right? Some years ago, MKO Abiola, I was told this story, got a big knock on his gate, and somebody kept hitting the gate. MKO was a billionaire, one of the richest men in the world, the richest in Africa at the time. And he told his PA to go check who is at the gate, check whatever he wants, and just sort him out. He always does that. Highly benevolent gentleman. So he went to the gate, and the PA said, "Sorry, Mr. Man, what do you want?" And the man said, "Well, I need to see Chief. I need 100,000 naira." The man said, 100,000 naira then is a lot of money. He said, that's like 1990, 1980 something. He said, 100,000 naira. Wow. Anyway, he said, "It's Chief. Let me go and tell Chief." So he went into the. So he said, PA, what does he want? He said, "Chief, the man is asking for a staggering 100,000 naira." MKO gave a classical response. Said, PA, it's not the 100,000 that is staggering. You are the one that is staggering. You are the one that is staggering, that makes that 100,000 staggering. So it's not asking for a staggering 100,000 naira. It's asking for 100,000 naira. Give him. But because you are staggering, that's why that 100,000 looks staggering. So it comes down to you. And accept you have the right perception of yourself in the world and the nutrients that must define that self, top of which is the loss of fear. The loss of fear, right? And secondary to that is the loss of shame. The moment you are able to put both in perspective, you can't have the loss of shame if you don't have the loss of fear. But the moment you have the loss of fear, right, the journey to loss of shame is like this. But once you have both of them in your pocket, loss of fear, loss of shame, you are free completely to do whatever you want to do in this life. Completely free. And to close this, I'll give 3 ideas. The first one is an analogy. Assuming from the beginning of time, to die means that once you die, you land in the country of your choice with their passport to your name and to your face. That's the meaning of death. Assuming that's the meaning of death from the beginning of time. I'm sure you have the picture already. If there's a house, first of all, embassies will disappear, right? Visa consulates will disappear, right? If there's a house of death, somebody will go there. The queue in the house of death will be long, like from here to Japan. From here to Japan. And somebody will go there to say, sorry, excuse me, are you the killer? Say yes. Well, my brother was here yesterday. I'm told you use one knife to kill him. He didn't die until almost 4 hours. You see, I have a meeting and have to go and come back. So don't you have something like bomb or nuclear weapon? Because I need to die quickly so that I can quickly attend a meeting. Because all of a sudden, dying means landing in the country of your choice. So if you want an American passport, just die and you have an American passport. So the moment people now know what happens after death, when what happens after death is country of your choice with their passport to your name, people will be ready to die. People will get creative in dying. So it's not really the event of death people are afraid of. Because if it was the event of death, they would still not want to die, even when they knew that what happens after death is the country of your choice to your passport and their passport to your name. They would still not want to die. It means when people are afraid to die, it is what happens after death they are not sure of. So they are not sure heaven is real. They are not sure what happens after death. That is why they don't want to die. You see what I'm saying? That's why they don't want to die. And once you are not sure of the environment you are going to be in when you die, you are definitely not sure of the custodian. So both God and heaven are in doubt in the mind of maybe 99.9% of the human people. What do you think? I'll leave that thought as a symposium discussion. Whatever that means to you, though, whatever that means to you, it means that if you attach yourself to the possibilities in the human condition at all, then the best you owe yourself is to accept all of the possibilities in that condition, called a human being, and to commit to maximizing that condition, right? And that comes from going out of your way, regardless of what you feel, to state the actions you must commit to. So actions must arrest feeling and thoughts if you stay true to that action enough. You see? Now, the moment you settle that, then I'll go to the next point. The moment you settle that, that is where you want to ask yourself, so where am I in the world? Where is my space in the world? What is mine in the world? If I'm an author, how will 6 billion people read me? So everybody knows John C. Maxwell. Everybody knows Brian Tracy. Everybody knows Anthony Robbins. Why do you know these people? They are not presidents of a nation. They are not ministers of a country. They are not musicians. They are not singers. They are not actors. How come everybody knows them? Because those guys, first of all, have committed to an idea within them that the world will learn of their thoughts. And they have also committed to the system that will deliver the distribution that will make that possible. You can't have such commitment within you if you are alive in the way you are. I don't have time. I will have taken all the time to break it down for you into pieces of actions you need to take or things you can begin to do now. But I'll give you one exercise, just one. And I will speak about something else. The exercise is, take your phone. First of all, take your pen and paper and write down words that represent your belief. So if you want to be fearless, write down, I am fearless. I fear nothing. All human beings are equal to me. My mind is incapable of processing fear, of receiving subserviency, of communicating tokenism, or being indolent, or afraid, of fellow human beings. I fear nothing. I am bought with a price. I'm not servants of men, not of six. I'm not a slave. So whatever it is, write it down. Everything around me is stimulus. At best, I own myself. I own the world. So document those things. Once you document them, then graduate. Take your phone and read it. Act it. Let your action show and your belief show in what you are saying. Record it in your phone. When you record it in your phone, take it to a studio engineer to help you edit it properly, put good music under it, and that becomes your own confession. Play it to yourself at every spare time. Most of the songs you have time to listen to, most of the movies you have time to watch, they are the ones determining the scale of your fear and regulating your state in this life. Somebody said, give me the lyrics of the songs of a land. I don't care who writes the laws. Give me the lyrics of the songs of a land. I don't care who writes the laws. Because the lyrics are more powerful in governing behavior than the laws. So put that in your phone and listen to it every day. I own the world. I enter the world. I am received by kings and princes around the world. The palaces and the highest places of the universe recognize me. Even now, regardless of where I am, I'm borderless. Minds are connecting with me in London, in Brussels, in Paris, in Berlin, in New York, in Dallas, in Rio de Janeiro, in Puerto Rico, in Curacao. Say those things and play them every day, all your spare time. You are in the bus, you are driving, you are going somewhere, you are in a boring meeting, wherever you are, play it. You will soon begin to believe it. And all of a sudden, you are going to deceive your brain, because the brain must be deceived. If you don't know how to lie to your brain will master you and a part you don't want to go. Because there's enough stimulus in the world, 60,000 you cannot control. So you have to tell your own story and tell your own lie to your brain. So you will deceive your brain and condition it to operate within a zone, and that zone only. That is when you can now see how they will recognize you in Nassau, how Washington will know you are around, how 10 Downing Street will know you are around, how the whole world will read your book, how the whole world will listen to your song, and that audacity will begin to drive you. And at the end of the day, all of this preparation. So don't forget that some people don't have all of this. They still become that. But you see, they go with it, or they are dominated through it. So you can become so famous. And when the systems that made you famous are done with you, they switch off the lights and you are gone. I can give you examples upon examples, right? But when you are the architect of that journey yourself, that this hand, this brain under God is the curator of that journey to your global weight and your global strength, then nobody can switch off the light, because the button is in your hand. And think this way and recognize that the strength of a material is in its universal appeal. You will crack before the biggest opportunities, just because inside of you, you are too alive and you feel everything. You are not dead enough to act on your greatest audacity.
Do you enjoy Olakunle Soriyan's content here on YouTube? Then you should be on Illuminate. It's the digital library of Olakunle Soriyan, with over 25 years of private sessions, decoded frameworks, and content unavailable anywhere else. Visit bit.ly/PK Illuminate. Subscription starting from $10 per month.
Feedback from the future.